Are raging in Cairo, Egypt. Thousands of President Morsi's supporters fighting with his opponents. Rocks and firebombs flying outside the presidential palace. GRN reporter Jacob Lippincott is in Cairo with the latest. Jacob.
Well, it was extremely violent, much more so than earlier protests I've witnessed in Cairo these past 2 weeks. The earlier outbreaks of violence mainly involved disorganized groups of young teenagers, but tonight people of all ages were actively involved in the fighting. Furthermore, both sides were clearly well organized and fully prepared for a large-scale conflict. The police were able to keep fighting away from the main avenues, so they didn't even try and stop the intense fighting that broke out in side streets. And besides using truncheons and stones, I saw Molotov cocktails being thrown extensively by both sides. At one point, opposition fighters were breaking into high-rise apartments and throwing petrol bombs on Islamists from the balconies. Furthermore, there are unconfirmed reports of both sides using firearms and live ammo. I didn't see anyone carrying guns or see any gunshot wounds, but I certainly heard what sounded like a number of shotgun blasts throughout the night. There have been unconfirmed reports of deaths on both sides, and that doesn't strike me as hard to believe. All in all, it was just a very disturbing scene, and it really makes one wonder if there can be any dialogue between the two sides. The Islamist-supported constitution is supposed to be put to referendum this month, but it's hard to see how this or any semblance of normal political life could go forward if these circumstances continue.
Jacob, thank you.
Thank you.
And of course, Egypt is not the only place in turmoil. In just a few minutes, the growing military mixing the components of the nerve gas. And now, the military awaiting the go signal from President Assad to unleash it on his own people. If fighter jets drop the bombs, these canisters, the sarin gas will kill people within 1 minute. No other country's military will be able to help. You can't get there that fast. Former UN Ambassador John Bolton joins us. Good evening, Ambassador, and your thoughts about the news tonight.
Well, this is very serious. You know, we had reports a couple of months ago of the Assad regime moving supplies of chemical weapons or chemical agent out of their storage facilities. This intelligence that Fox News has confirmed, Jennifer Griffin, that you had on earlier, that indeed they're now mixing the precursor chemicals to create the nerve gas sarin, means that they're in the process of weaponization. So this is a whole level of seriousness above this, and it could well mean that the reports we've seen that the Assad regime's forces are suffering real military setbacks means that now Assad is preparing his last defense against the opposition overthrowing him.
Well, the shelf life, as we understand, of sarin gas is 60 days. So now that it's mixed, that there's a 60-day window. Of course, that doesn't mean that he's not, if he does act, that he's not going to act within the next 20 seconds. We have no way of knowing. But I'm curious, how far can his missiles reach out of Syria? I mean, is he likely to? Should other nations in the area be concerned?
Well, I think by definition, this is very dangerous stuff, and it's unstable, in addition, obviously, to being highly toxic, so it's dangerous for anybody to be around. One of the problems with chemical weapons has always been how you deliver them. The explosive force of normal artillery or missiles destroys the chemical weapon, so being able actually to use it effectively has been a military problem. I don't think that it's likely Assad would use this across the Turkish border, for example. I think it's far more likely he's threatening the opposition, and basically either for negotiating purposes or because he thinks he's close to the end of the line, he's making it clear he's getting ready to use his ultimate weapon to increase his leverage.
All right, well, I did some research on sarin gas. This is what happens in that 1 minute. Runny nose, tightness in chest, constriction of pupils, then you have difficulty breathing, nausea, then drooling, then you lose control of your bodily functions, vomiting, defecating, urinating, then you start twitching and jerking, and then you're comatose and suffocate in a series of convulsive spasms. So that's what that does in the beginning in that minute.
Yeah, look, this is nasty stuff. There's no doubt about it. But we have known for decades that Syria has had a very active chemical weapons program. We've been concerned. It's had both biological and nuclear programs as well. We've known that the stocks of chemical weapons and agent have been very significant. And over the past 2 years, while this civil war has raged, we've known of this possibility. So we're very much at risk now, not only that the chemical weapons will be used in the conflict in Syria, but that if terrorist elements within the opposition get their hands on the agent or the weapons, they could go out of the country and be used by terrorists worldwide, and that is a real danger.
We have 20 seconds. Any chance this intelligence could just be dead wrong and this isn't happening?
Well, it's possible that Assad is trying to deceive the opposition and the West, again, to increase his bargaining power. But I would not put it past Assad to use this weapon. It's perfectly capable of doing it. It's the kind of regime that he's been leading these past several years.
And he's already killed 40,000 in 18 months, so why should he turn good all of a sudden?
Right,
Ambassador,
exactly.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.